What's going on, everybody? Tonight we have a gentleman who's going to be coming on. He is a father's rights activist. He started a big YouTube, Facebook following. I'm not gonna lie, I got really lucky. I grabbed him on one of his live streams. He was honored to come on, and I'm gonna let Zach introduce himself here.
Hey, thanks, Mike. Zach Martin here. Kids Deserve Dads is my nonprofit, and I've been fighting for kids and dads for 9 years now. So it was exciting. I was on the Capitol steps, walking around the Capitol after having won, getting our bill through the Senate, and you got on there and asked me if I want to come on, and I said, "Hell yeah, let's do this." So excited to be here.
Oh, so that's what you were doing in the broken Capitol stairs. Oh, what was it? A crack that everybody was obsessed with?
Yeah. So there's a well, not a crack. No, it's a one of the little pillars in the stairwell. So the whole building is like, I mean, imagine it, right? If you've been to a Capitol, they're all gorgeous, tons of like intricate work and stuff. Everything was put together exactly the same way. The third pillar down from the top of the stairs is upside down, and they did it because they wanted to not be perfect because only God's perfect, and then they did it the third one down because of the Holy Trinity. Anyways, and so that was the design, and then people wanted to see the inside. I had been outside on an earlier video and walked around the whole building and walked around the lake in the governor's mansion, and because it was like 60 degrees outside, so it was beautiful in the middle of February in South Dakota. And so then like, we want to see the inside. So the next day I took them around the inside. And funny, when I was in there, the domestic violence group, who really does not like shared parenting or me, they they were the ones in the lobby setting up all their stuff, and all the ladies were just staring at me as I was making videos showing off the whole entire beautiful architectural work of the inside of the building.
That is awesome. I love that you were just pissing them off, smiling, just holding their camera, just looking at the building, and they're sitting there setting up their little table, just pissed off. It's like
Yeah.
it's like you can be as loud as you want. That doesn't make you right.
That is so true. And they are very loud. I think one of the funny things, one of their big things is that, there's, it's not true. We don't know if shared parenting will help it out. And what we have now works. But what they have is 72 domestic violence shelters here in South Dakota to help out for domestic violence. But in Kentucky, they lost. Domestic violence went down 50% since they changed that law in 2018. And so if it went down 50% here, how many of those ladies would be out of work if I get this through? A
The
lot.
truth. So
Yep.
we'll circle back to kind of what got you going and what really sparked your interest in your fight into this uphill battle. But let's start off with you personally. You a father?
Yes, sir.
All right, how many kids you got?
I got one son. He is 9 years old.
9 years
Yeah.
old. All right. I want you to take a second, think back real hard here, okay? You're in the room. What are you feeling up to the moment you hold your son for the first time?
Man, I'll tell you what, I got to go into the delivery room with my son's mom, and it was kind of a whirlwind. I'll be honest. Just kind of like all the things going on, right? And then she had to get an emergency C-section, so it went super fast. And then they cut her open, and there's my son crying. And I watched him, and they put him underneath the lights, and it's an emotional thing. It just really got to me. And I remember the nurse wiping him off and stuff, and then she asked me if I wanted to hold him, and I got to like hold him in my hands, and he's so tiny, and I'm holding him and put him against my face and gave him a kiss and it was just like tears of joy coming down my face. It was absolutely amazing. And then after a few moments of holding him and stuff, I actually placed him on his mom's chest and stuff so she could. I mean, she couldn't really hold him because she was, getting cut open and stuff and sewed back up. But I held him there so she could touch him and stuff also for a few moments before. they asked me to leave the room with him, and I got to actually walk him back to our delivery room where we were staying in, and I got to spend like the first like 45 minutes to an hour with him by myself while they were doing all of her stitching and all the procedure stuff. And it was an absolutely incredible experience to just get to be there with him and hold him and love on him. Uh, yeah,
That sounds identical, basically, to my situation. And that like half hour is just, I just remember my family and my friends just taking pictures through the glass because it was like, I felt like a fish in an aquarium and I got this little pink blanket and this blue scrubs and just they're all taking pictures through the glass like an aquarium. But
yeah.
yeah, no, I
I
can
wish I had
relate
good
exactly
pictures.
to what you said.
My
I've
mom,
got
my
I've
mom was the only one there, and she was taking photos, and she's a horrible photographer. I love my mom, horrible photographer. So all the videos I have are like out of focus and blurry and dark. I'm like, how did you get such bad photos? Come on, we have digital cameras, mom. What's going on here? But she was
yep,
the only
I
one that
have
was there.
well, hey, that's a magical moment, even just one on one. You
It
can
was
focus
great.
more on her, and I'm sure that was that was a good moment for you. But
It
I've
was
got
so
one
good.
photo where I'm up at the glass and I'm holding her, and there's just a single teardrop at the end of my nose, and you can just tell my face was red, and I love that
Yeah,
photo. It's like one of my favorite photos.
dude, that's so cool. Yeah, that sounds like an awesome photo, right? To have like that that joy coming out and being expressed with a tear and uh, so cool. Yeah,
It's like a
you
Da
can't really
Vinci
see it in
painting.
my yeah, dude. Oh, you have to share it with me. I'm gonna check it out, man. I love baby photos, man. They're so good. So especially
Uh,
dads and babies. That's like a best moment. Like there's so much emotion and energy in that, and I think like a lot of times people talk about dads not being like connected, but in those moments, like everybody that I've ever talked to about that, all those dads are like so intimately connected with their kids. They are just absolutely like enthralled and excited, and the energy is like through the roof. And all these guys are just so elated to get to be in that spot, to be a father in that moment. And it's amazing how how often that happens and how much guys are excited about that experience.
oh,
But thanks
dude,
for letting me know that.
it it changes you. It really does. It's like a natural. I've said it before. It's like a natural thing that just happens. Like
A
you
hundred
can't.
percent.
Sometimes you can't just explain it, but like just it just changes you.
100%. No, you can't explain it. Unless you go through it, you really don't know what it actually is and what it's like to have that happen. So it's one of the greatest things in the whole entire world. So
So, share a little bit. Your journey as a father. From we went over the moment it started. Now get us to here. Whatever you're comfortable with. Whatever you want your son to hear if he ever hears this in 10 years, if I'm around that long. But just speak the truth, man. Whatever message you want to get out there.
yeah, I mean, whether you're around that long or not, it doesn't matter because it's on the YouTube. So it's tiny little pieces in
The
the ether
internet's
all
forever.
forever, bro. You can't escape it. Do not put it out there. Luckily, when I was a kid, none of the crazy crap I did got put on the internet. So because there wasn't the
It
internet.
went on flip
Not like
phones and that was it. And then once you upgrade, the phone got thrown away and it was gone forever.
dude, I'm 46, man. We didn't even have phones until I got one of the first phones when I was going to school in New Jersey, and from Wyoming going to New Jersey, like people stop in the side of the road to help somebody out and stuff. In New Jersey, people don't stop, man. They just keep going. And so I
Yeah.
was I really was like, I need to get a phone. So I got me my first phone. It had Snake on it. It was dope. And
Oh, Snake
Nokia.
is the greatest game ever.
Yeah. So what was the question you asked? Because that was not what it was about, but
No, it wasn't. I totally got your journey. What's some special
yeah.
moments you have?
Oh, I've had a bunch of great moments with my son. I've really been focused on making sure that I show up for him in a connected uh, and supportive way from day one. So I think one of the best ones is recently last fall is probably the last time last fall like October ish is the last time that my son held my hand. We were crossing the parking lot in a busy parking lot and stuff, and he reached up and grabbed my hand, and we held hands as we walked across the parking lot into the pet shop. And I try to take real like real hard memory of those moments. Like I try to really keep them and dive them in deep and ingrain them in me because they're so impactful that maybe the last time my son ever holds my hand like that, you know, for protection, for support in those kind of moments. He was 8.5, and he didn't need it, I'm sure, but it was nice that he did that, and I cherished that moment. I thought about it while they were walking, and just was thinking how amazing this is and how he's growing up so fast, and just to get to have one more time that I get to hold his hand was so powerful. Um, and so a lot of the moments with him that I've had have been like that, where I've memorized them and collected them, and I've done a lot of things with like emails. The day he was born, I started an email address for him, and I've sent him emails since the day he was born. I continue to still send him emails to today, just to celebrate him and our life together and the things that we've done, sharing photos and my visions. And sometimes they've been very hard going through the tough things to be his dad, and sometimes they've been really joyful of our experiences together and the wild things we've done. Like when he was 3, we went and did a backpacking trip. His first ever backpacking trip when he was 3 years old. He's probably hiked well over 1,000 miles. He's probably closer to 1,200 miles of hiking, but he hiked into a place called Dad's Lake. We hiked to Dad's Lake in the Wind Rivers of Wyoming, which is where I'm from, and it was his first time backpacking. His first time pooping in a hole in the woods, and we slept on the lake. And we got videos and photos, and we went fishing and caught fish. And it was just a magical time with me and a couple friends. And while we are hiking out there, I taught him how to whistle. We had been working on whistling, but his first time ever whistling was on that hike, and and it was pretty incredible. And on the way up, we were talking about going to Dad's Lake, and when we got hiking up there, we're going to stop at a lake before that. And he's talking about, why can't we go to a kids lake? I want to go to kids lake too. If we're going to Dad's Lake, we should go to kids lake. And I was like, actually, we could stop at this lake over here. And I just told him it was called Kids Lake, and he was so pumped up. And so we camped on Kids Lake the first night, and then Dad's Lake the next 2 nights, and had an incredible experience. And with that backpacking trip, we actually were there because the meteor shower was going on. And so we ended up watching every night. We laid there under the stars in the middle of the mountains in Wyoming and watched a meteor shower up above us each and every night. And it was an absolutely incredible experience. And my son and I have watched that meteor shower almost every summer since. But I've taken him, I've coached almost all of his sports. I coach every sport that I can coach. I took him to his first day of preschool, and I was coronavirus, thank goodness, and law school was online, and so I got to be in the town that we live in now, Rapid City. And being here, I got to his mom couldn't take him, and so I got to take him to school, his preschool, his very first day, and I dropped him off, and I was holding him in my arms, and everybody's going inside, and he's giving me a big hug, and I let him go and set him down, and I turn around, and he's walking inside. I turn around, and I'm crying, letting him go inside, and all of a sudden I hear him call my name, Daddy, and I turn around, and he's running out the door, and he runs, and I bend down and got on my knee, and he jumps into my arms, and he gives me this gigantic bear hug. It's this huge old bear hug, like, I'm not sure that I want to go, and I love you, and he's holding me, and I'm holding him, and I'm crying, and I'm just loving this embrace. Like, he needs me so much, and he loves me so freaking much. And I hold him, and I probably hold him for like a minute, and I set him down, and he walks inside, and I'm like, holy shit, that was one of the greatest moments of my whole freaking life.
Yeah,
Man,
dude, I'm telling you, we have very similar stories because we weren't together when preschool came around and kindergarten and all that. But on her first day, I got the day off and I drove up to New Hampshire. Um, and I met at their house and got her on the bus, and then drove to the school to get her off the bus. And I have this photo of her with her backpack on, with her little braid, just looking over. Dude, it's just those moments. It's an amazing feeling. You just sit there and you're like, all right, now next thing you know, they're graduating. I mean, mine's a middle schooler now, and I don't even know what happened. It's like you blink and it's over.
dude, middle school, I know. My son's in third grade, and I feel like it's going way too fast. And I mean, it all just goes too fast. That's why you gotta cherish those moments, right? Like every chance you get, and make sure that you dedicate yourself to it. I spent so much time thinking about how do I leave an impact in his life? How do I support him and guide him into growing up and being sure that I am the most influential and impactful role model for him in this experience. So riding his bike, we're going to go hunting this year. We go fishing together. We go travel the world. We've been to 3 different countries so far, and I intend to go with him a lot more. And I just focus so much on being certain that I give him every opportunity to be successful and to have incredible experiences, and that when he has them with his dad. And I'm the one guiding him through that.
Yeah, I keep hearing lately that it's me and her are two peas in a pod. We're just the same. Down to the stubbornness, the attitude, the humor.
Yeah. As you
It's
said,
a
you're
it's
like,
like
she's a mini me.
yeah, it's rough too. My mom always like, I hope she's like you. And I'm like, yeah, right. God, I suck. I sucked as a
Was
kid if this is what I was like.
right. Was I like this really? Oh man. Sorry, mom.
Yeah, I just had a day yesterday. I was sitting on the porch looking at the snow and I was like, damn, we really were just two peas in a pod. I remember getting into arguments with my parents and I was rough at times. And yesterday, I mean, she went with her mom. It was like the exchange of custody. And we kind of left
Yeah.
it on like bad terms. We got into a little dispute about, life. And I was just kind of like later on in the night, I was like, she really is like me. And I was like, but I need to show her what I wasn't shown when I was her. And I sent her a text and I was like, hey, she's a one word answer, text her. And I hate it sometimes because you're like, show emotion, show something. It's just hi, lol. Yeah. But I sent her like a little apology and I was like, hey, listen, it's your first time figuring this out. And it's my first time being a dad. Bear with me. I'm trying. And I get the I love you. Okay. But it's like, she was able to apologize earlier as well. So it's like I just want to show her like if I'm going to be the example, I need to also show her if she's going to have my attitude, she needs to have the sympathy afterwards type deal.
Right. Like you can be all fiery and have the attitude, but at least empathize and be connected afterwards with the people you're.
Exactly. You learn to just take the step back and breathe on it for a minute and
Right.
then come back.
Yeah. It's
But
good. It's good that she has you to help her guide her through that. Those are important lessons to guide them through those experiences, right? Because she's gonna have it, and if she's got to figure it all by herself without your support, then how good will she do? But with your support, she can do so much better at getting control and understanding what's going on. So congrats, man.
yeah, you got to be the example. But what about you and your son? Are you guys two peas in a pod? Are you guys kind of like you see more like his mom? How's that? What do you
Uh,
notice?
he's he's probably a good portion of both, but he's definitely a lot like me. He's got a lot of energy, a lot of personality. He's a lot of fun, and we have a great time together. We do like we have having a daughter is different, right? So we play
Oh God.
Fortnite, and we don't do dress up. We don't. We actually we used to do a lot of superhero costumes for our dress up. So we would just do battle. But we have Nerf gun fights. We have snowball fights. We do a lot of sledding when it's snowing outside. We throw baseball and footballs every day after school. We're doing something. I picked him up from school the other day, and it was like 25 degrees outside, and he's wearing shorts and a hoodie. And he's like, "Dad, let's play some football." I'm like, "All right." I'm wearing my suit because I drove straight back from uh, the legislature to pick him up, and I left there, came straight back here, and got to the school just in time to pick him up. Picked him up. I'm out in the park with him on the playground, throwing footballs, throwing touchdown passes. I was on it the other day too, and I'm wearing my suit, and I'm in a suit, and he's got his hoodie on and some shorts, and we're just throwing football passes for like half an hour out here in the freezing cold, uh, playing football. And every day we're doing something like that. I usually get up to school and we shoot hoops at the playground. We hit baseballs. We throw baseballs. I would say couple times a month, and probably every day that we're together, him and I throw a football every single day. So and
It's
wrestle.
awesome.
Dude, we battle
Yep.
all the time, man. Full on battles. So
Trust me, mine can get fierce. I mean, right now she's very friends oriented. Like we basically have kids in our apartment every single day she's here, which we love. Like we love the busyness. We love all the kids. We love that she's having fun. The other day I took her to a card show. So she's in the Pokemon, and I do a
okay.
lot of Pokemon collecting myself. That's kind of like I don't understand stocks, but my autism tells me that shiny Japanese cardboard is worth a lot of money, and I like that. So I like collecting. And then once I started collecting, I was like, I could turn this into an investment. So I started right before COVID, starting to collect a little bit and learning how the market works with Pokemon. And now I've just been kind of like buying here and there to like help. But everything I have, come in emergency fund or, you know, even when Julie's like 50 and I'm in a, retirement home, um, to help her out in life if it's worth a shit ton more money. But like right now I'm at like 70 grand roughly, like
Okay.
in, collection stuff. And it's like, God forbid anything ever happens to me. I have friends that are already instructed, like, hey, sell this off and lick like whatever, we can and give the money to Julie.
Right.
So it's kind of like an emergency insurance policy.
Yeah. Yeah, to give her that chance to like have that cool, and she has something like that you're excited about also, right? So you guys have that thing you guys can go share and go see car shows. And there's a lot of car shows that I've never gotten a Pokemon. I'm sure my son loves it, but
No, I'll
there's a
have to send
lot
him a
of
couple packs so we can rip them.
he loves them, man. Yeah. We play them every once in a while and stuff, but he's all about it. Is there a uh I mean, do you guys there's a game too, right? Like, it's not just like a collection thing. There's
Oh
actually a
yeah,
game with
there's
Pokemon.
a yep, there's games on the Switch. She plays with her friends sometimes. There's Pokemon Go. We don't really play that, but she's more into the cards herself. When we were at the card show, I told her I was like, hey, listen, I have the money, and you have. She has a binder of cards that she's willing to trade for like whatever she wants. She collects only a specific one, which is the Eevees, like on all the
Okay.
evolutions. So she has a
Okay.
binder, and it's honestly sick. Like I'm jealous of the binder. But I told her I was like, I'm not doing any deals for you. Like you are talking to the vendors. If you see a card you like, you show them your binder. Um, when the deal is done, you shake hands always with your right hand. And one of the vendors actually said to me when she was working with another vendor, he was like, "Dude, you're teaching her how to wheel and deal. Like you're doing good." And she was the star of the show though, her and her friend. But she made out like a bandit with cards. Her friend ended up getting a free box from somebody and pulled like a $50 card out of it. But
That's
it
nice.
was it was a lot of fun, and it's teaching her lessons.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what it's all about, right? Is like getting those experiences and stuff, and something they can get into and enjoy. and get some passion around. And she's learning things like how to negotiate, how to get good deals and stuff, and shaking hands is an important thing. I mean, so many kids don't know how to do that, or talking on the phone. My son and I talk about, like, I don't help them out with asking for stuff. If you want something from somebody, we're at a restaurant or whatever, you have to ask yourself. Like, it's not, you need to learn and practice asking for the things that you want to have in this life. Because if you want something, ultimately in the end, you're going to be the one that has to go out there and do it.
Well, yeah, and never be afraid to take a shot. What's the worst they say? No.
Right? Yeah. 100%.
Like, all right, and then you move on. All right, move on to the
Yeah.
next one.
Yeah. We had a time, last Halloween, he wanted a soda, and they were letting people have sodas, but they weren't sitting out, right? And people had been getting them. And he's like, Dad, the guy got a soda. Can I get a soda? And I was like, yeah, sure, you can get a soda. I was like, you just got to ask who you need to ask to get one. And he's like, well, who do I have to ask? And I was like, I don't know. Go ask one of the ladies that work here and stuff. And he's like, no. He's like, can you ask him? And I was like, no, I'm not asking him for you. I was like, it's a good chance for you to go out there and figure it out. So he wasn't going to get a soda. He was going to like let it go. And a little upset. But the guy that was sitting there by us while we were having this discussion went to go get a soda. He's like, hey, if you want, you can get a soda with me. I'll just open it up and you can grab one. And took him over there to get him a soda, so that he ended up getting a soda from that guy. And I didn't make a comment to him afterwards, but I was a little upset that he robbed him of that chance to like get that lesson, right? Like, if you really want a soda, dude, you got to go ask for yourself, man, and don't expect somebody to save you and rescue you. So
Yeah, that would have
I was a
irked
little
me. I would have been
upset.
giving glares out of the food side of my eyes, like while I'm eating, just like,
He
really,
got a glare
dude?
straight out the front. Like, he was like, I was like, look at him like, what the fuck is wrong with you, bro? Like, are you not,
Was he
are
was
you
he an
not
older
reckon?
guy?
No, he was probably about our
Oh,
age, like in his like mid
oh, then
mid
he was
thirties or
he
something like
was.
that. He's,
Oh yeah, then he absolutely was just like by himself getting food, and he was like, "I'm gonna fuck up this dude's day. Want one?"
yeah, right. Yeah, you want one too? And I'm like,
He
yeah, I
left.
wanted to get a
He
soda.
left there smiling.
Yeah, right. I'm gonna rob this
That's
kid of a I'm gonna rob this kid of a learning experience, because I'm a
no.
loser
I
like that also.
I would think of it as more of a jab at the dad, just looking at him like, "Yep, I got you. I got
Yeah,
you."
right. I'm a
I
loser,
had
and
a
the reason I'm fat and lazy is because I have people do things for me, and I just let other people do stuff for me. I take no responsibility
yep.
for myself. So it was
So, what got you into the father's rights movement?
my son was about 5 months old, and we split up, and she was holding her from me, and I was a realtor. I owned a real estate company, and I was like, there's no good reason that I don't get to be my son's dad. And so because of that, I was going through it, and started asking all my friends about it, and they basically said this is just how it goes. That pretty much, if you're a dad, you just get every other weekend, and you lose, and I was like, this is not okay. And I started working with some friends on some legislation in Wyoming, and working on changing some laws there. And just by dealing with all the guys that are going through this stuff, I realized it was such a huge problem. So I made a support group, because I wasn't the only one going through it at the same time, and had like a dozen or two guys come into my office conference room every week. And we had meetings and talked about what we're going through. And so I started this nonprofit to help change the world and make it so my son doesn't have to go through the same experience that I've gone through. So, and not that he can have hard experiences in life. I don't want him to have this hard experience. So, I want him to have
It's
I want him to have challenges, and I want him to push himself and overcome hard things, and he shouldn't have these hard things, and my grandkids shouldn't have these hard things to grow up with.
How long do you think you spent in a courtroom fighting that battle? And how, was there anything that was like a turning point in it that, do you, well, let me ask you this. Do you have 50-50 now, or what's it like right now?
I have extended standard. So I have Wednesday overnights, and then I have him every other Friday through after school until Monday at school. So I have like
That sounds so
33%.
complicated.
Dude, it's so complicated. It makes absolutely no sense. It's it's so ridiculous. but that's the whole thing, right? Like so when I started this, this all started, and my son, my son was about to turn 1. We had set up and planned on doing a joint birthday party. We had this whole joint birthday party planned, and I knew nothing of anything, and so I thought everything was going smooth. And then all of a sudden, she decides that she's gonna pick a fight, and she has this whole self-started knockdown drag out fight of like epic proportions, and I'm like, what is going on? Like, I don't understand what you're doing. And so at the end and basically I'm like, I don't know what's going on. Like, it was a one-sided fight. And at the end she's like, you need to do your own birthday party with him. I'm not doing it. And I'm like, well, I have him this weekend. Like, she's like, you can do it, you better do it tomorrow, because you're not going to come to his birthday party next week, which was the day of his first birthday, when we're going to do his birthday party. And she already knew what was going on, just nobody told me. And so I went and made a cake, middle of the night. I'm doing food coloring, make this cake, inviting all my friends. So I'm making this smash cake for him the night before UW Wyoming basketball game, and he was going to be in the game. He was going to be the halftime show, the baby crawl, and so he was in the baby crawl the next day. So we had this whole smash cake. I did all this stuff. The day before his first birthday, I was still thinking that I was going to get to see him. The day before his first birthday, at like 5:30 at night, she sends me a text saying they're moving 6 hours away tomorrow, and there's nothing I can do about it. It's already been decided. And my lawyers and her lawyers and the guardian ad litem and everybody knew except for me. They all kept it a secret from me and didn't let me know. Um, and it was awful. And I don't even know why I got on that topic, but it really fired me up. And just little
I
things
was
like
I
that, right?
was
Like, that's
I
the
was
kind
about
of
to
stuff
say,
that happened.
how the hell did they hide that? Like, what what was your lawyer's reasoning?
No reason. He didn't give any reason why. They just said that she's allowed to move, and that that's the way that the state allows it. And that, you know, basically they were just, we'll fight it out when we go to court. And that was it. And so then I got him 8 days every month. So I got him a Saturday, a Saturday morning, the first Saturday, and then I got him until the following Sunday every single month. The first Saturday to the following Sunday every single month. And sometimes I had to go like 30, 35 days without seeing him at all. And it was just absolutely terrible. And then when I went for shared parenting, they're like, "Oh, it's too much, right?" I'm like, they let me have shared parenting in the summertime, 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. But he was a kid, a little kid before school, and they wouldn't let me have it afterwards. And then when school started, they made it that I got to have him every other weekend. It was just, it makes absolutely no sense. It was the most draconian, like the most, the dumbest possible thing I've ever heard of. And that's what they did. And so actually, I'm gonna write this freaking down, because sorry, I had to write this down. Summer schedules are usually like week on, week off in South Dakota or everywhere, and or 2 weeks on and 2 weeks off. And if a kid can go in the summertime for a week on and a week off, why can't they go week on and week off during the school year? It makes absolutely no sense. It's all about the state making money and these DV clinics making money. That's what it's about. And lawyers need to hold your kids hostage to get paid.
Dude, I got so lucky with my lawyer. I couldn't really fight. I was going up against her lawyer, and her lawyer was being funded by my child support, and it was just it's a cycle that you fund to basically kill yourself. And I couldn't afford my lawyer. I was working 2 jobs, barely making ends meet as it was. And finally, years went by, and I came across a little bit of money, and I invested in a lawyer. But I remember I was calling like lawyers on discount from the state type deals, and a bunch
Right.
of lawyers heard my case, and they were just like, no, we don't have the time for that, or that's too complicated. And I met this one lawyer. He's a judge now, but he was out of this world. I Great guy, and I got lucky because he wiped the floor with them.
Huh. That's awesome. I mean, it's a crapshoot, and my experience of this, especially being a guy and dealing with, I've thousands of followers and stuff, and I talk to thousands of guys every month about their experiences, and most of them say that their lawyers just roll over and do absolutely nothing, like give them no support and no help. They really just kind of like let them be fed to the wolves, and they're just there to collect a paycheck and to walk them through it. And it's just really disheartening when that happens. And so it's such a blessing to hear like a lawyer actually fighting and trying to help the dad out to be a dad for his kids. And it's just so rare.
Oh my god, I mean that's why he's a family judge now.
Huh.
He was he's great. Dude, he after it was cross examination or her examination, we went on a break, and he came when we went on break. We were just like, "So what's going on? Like, what do you think? What do you think?" And he goes, "This is gonna be fun." And he was so well prepared with his questioning, the notes he took during everything. Like he wasn't there to collect the paycheck. He was there to make the difference.
I
And
Wow.
he also was kind of getting like a set rate. Like it was like half of what I should have been paying a regular lawyer because he was on like the discount program.
Okay.
So he wasn't really about the money because if he was about the money, he wouldn't have signed up to volunteer on that program, you know?
Right. Right.
So,
He would have, you can pay me $300 an hour like everybody else does.
oh yeah, I remember the program through the state, they give you three references for free. Like they'll reference you a lawyer, da da da, you talk to them, they decide yes or no. The state gives you three roles, and then that's it. And thinking back to it, it's a miracle that I got the lawyer I got because I used up my three roles. But I swear to God, I had one lawyer. I wish I remembered his name because I would blast him. Who basically told me to screw off. Like I told my story and I was like, "Yeah, man. Like, do you think?" And he was like, "This is my rate," and his rate was like 250 or something an hour. And it was like it was going against the program's like max rate that they could charge.
Okay.
And I brought that up to him. I was like, "Hey, man, like you're asking way too much. Like I got you through this program for this rate." And he's like, "I don't care. Like this is my rate. If you don't like it, too bad." So I was kind of defeated, but I remember sitting in, back then I did armored car delivery. So sitting in the
Okay.
back of the armored car, I had like a 20-minute drive to my next stop. So my driver's driving, I'm in the back. And I was like, I'm gonna give it one shot. And I called the hotline or whatever. And they're like, "Oh, we can't do anything. We gave you your three references. You'd have to pay now to get more references. But we gave you your three." And I explained, like, listen, this person basically told me to F off. Like I can't afford the pay right now. I'm in Shit's Creek. Like I just please. And the lady said to me, she was like, "All right, this is the last one," and she gave me this one. And he called me back the next day, and it was a miracle because I shouldn't even have had that. You unplugged your microphone.
Drinking too much water.
You're good.
I was listening to you. That is a miracle. So I was like, oh gosh, I can't get out of the bathroom in time. Um, the the such a cool
Love it.
yeah, right. Hey, let's let's just be raw. So they have that chance, right? And the guy treats you like shit. Obviously not the kind of guy you want to have as a lawyer. And then the lady being super kind, like just all that like serendipitous stuff, right? Like being in the right place, asking, putting it out there, being vulnerable, and then getting exactly what it is that you wanted and desired, and they gave it all to you. So, dude, so freaking cool, man. That's awesome.
Oh yeah, he was very. You'll hear about it in episode one when you have the time to listen back because this was kind of sprung on. So I know you said you
Yeah.
didn't listen to
Oh,
him yet, which hey, whatever. I don't care. You're on the episode, which is what I matters, which matters more to me than you listening to it. You know what I mean?
dude, I'm gonna listen to it. I know how YouTube works, and one of my things about like YouTube. When I'm gonna put on a YouTube video, I take especially ones that I care about, right? And like this is one that I wanna support and take care of. I watch it till the end. I make a comment, I do all the right things that you're supposed to do to help out the algorithm to make it move. And so I would definitely not want to go in there and watch a minute and a half and then turn it off, right? I want to make sure that I give it the full attention and support that it needs, so that way you hit the algorithm as best as you possibly can. And
Uh,
um, and I've been busting my ass, man. I got this morning at like I woke up at like 4 o'clock this morning. My alarm was up at 4:45. All of a sudden, at 4 o'clock, I'm wide awake, and I'm like, "Well, shit, I'm about to get up." So I've been working since 4 o'clock this morning. I played a little bit of Fortnite with my son,
Jesus.
and I lifted
All right.
a little weights. But I've been going to town. I've made like 60 pieces of social media content today, and I've made a couple of videos, and I made some PowerPoint slides and my presentation uh, for the legislature on Monday, and yeah, I've been going to town, man. So it's been a fruitful day for sure.
I want to get on that, but you'll hear in episode one, when we went to my lawyer's office for the first time, my wife, she is so like organized that she had everything in a binder, color coded everything. So when we sat down, you know how like normally it's the two on one side and then you got the lawyer on the other.
Yeah,
She sat down and put the binder on the table and slid it to him, and he just opened it and looked at it and was like, "This is impressive." It basically like saved him hours of work because she was so organized, and he was so
like
impressed by it. And it was just like, I'm so glad she did that. It saved so much money too, because like him having to build that binder himself for three digits an hour, I can only imagine how much that would have cost.
dude,
But
so
you said
expensive.
you were pushing things through the courts and stuff. What got you pushing for that? Like you what started out, she took your kid, you've dealt with the custody battle there. But at some point you were like, I gotta take on the big guy.
Yep.
What motivated that spark, and what are you doing now? Tell us about your journey a little bit. I know you had
Yeah.
mentioned pre-show that you were trying to be a lawyer.
Well, not anymore, but I and on the show I talked about that I was in law school. But so what happened was I wrote that bill. They let my son move, and so he moved 6 hours away, and I was like, well, I'm gonna move up there, right? I'll run my business still here in Cheyenne. I had 17 agents working for me. I'll still own it and I'll run a little bit of it, but I'll move to Rapid City and I'll just open a new real estate business in Rapid City. And so I had bought a house up here, the one that I currently live in, and got myself all set up to move up here. And I wrote this bill. I wrote my shared parenting bill. And I was like, I'm going to ride off into the sunset, the Western style, right? And I'm going to get this bill in there. I'm going to get it to pass. And then I'm going to ride off into the sunset, move to South Dakota, and it's all going to be better in Wyoming. And so I got there and I had a good plan set up, got everything going, and defeated the lawyers in the committee. And the lawyers in the DV clinics came in there and we won, had a great showing and a great team. The next day we were on the floor and there was 20 lawyers and DV advocates and me. And they beat me up. And
For
so I
for the
sat.
people that hold on, sorry to interrupt. For the people that don't understand, what is DD?
DV is domestic violence advocates.
DV.
So there's, yeah, domestic violence centers. They have lobbyists that work to support them maintaining, making money, and staying in business. And so for the DV industry, domestic violence industry, having shared parenting would be the opposite of what would get them more clients. And so their job is to get themselves more clients. And so having a winner take all, knock down, drag out fight for control of your kids is the way they maintain their domestic violence industry. And so,
You know,
uh,
sorry. What I like about this is I'm gonna be able to hopefully circle back to episodes to be like, well, it's funny you say that because we did have someone who was on the show that experienced that, and episode two, I want to say it was David's story.
okay,
Um, he was falsely arrested under fake domestic violence charges. And that was actually the ultimatum that helped him win custody of his kids, is because he was arrested under false DV charges.
holy smokes, that helped him out. See, usually it's so complicated. And then so often what happens is that guys go through that, right? They prove themselves innocent because in domestic violence in family court, you are guilty until you prove yourself innocent. And then they prove themselves innocent, but it still takes a year or more. And by that time, you haven't really seen your kids or spent much time with them. And so the courts then go, well, you haven't spent time with your kids. So, yeah, this person lied, but they still have spent all this time with your kids. So now you get to have supervised visits, and they just continue to keep abusing you and your kids for years. And then they say, well, you haven't been that involved, so you can't have control now because they don't know what it's like to be with you. And so it's just awful, like manipulation and power game that these courts play with kids, especially when there's false allegations of domestic violence. And it's on my list. So if the DV clinics are worried about where I'm coming, I'm coming. It
So, your bill passed, right? The one that
has not passed.
it has
No,
not passed yet.
that one did not pass. So I lost. And after losing, I was like, I gotta do something different, right? Like they gave these lawyers so much credit, the legislators who I talked to and stuff, and they knew me. They said, Zach, we have to listen to the lawyers. They're the ones that do it every day. And and so everybody kept saying a very similar story, and I was like, you know what? If they're gonna give these lawyers so much credit, I'm just gonna go be a lawyer. And so the next day I didn't go to work. I drove over to the University of Wyoming and walked into the law school and said, "Hey, I want to be a lawyer." And the lady says, "Okay, like, have you been applying and stuff?" And I was like, "Well, no, but it's February, so how do I get into law school in the fall?" She's like, "Well, we already have like 2/3 of our people already decided for the fall. And have you done any of these tests or anything else?" And I said, "I've done nothing. I just decided after going to legislation yesterday that I'm going to go be a lawyer." And she kind of chuckled, right? But she showed me what I needed to do, and I had to file and turn everything in the next day to take the test. And there's one more test left that I could take to possibly get in there into this next year of law school. And it was the only one that would work because after that, then my son would be in school. Couldn't be in law school while he was in kindergarten, right? It would have cost me custody. And so I got the book to take the test. The book was like 1,000 pages, and I had like a week and a half to take it. And I probably read 30 pages, and I said, "Fuck it, I'm just gonna go for it." And I took the test, and they called me. My son and I were coming back from Canada. We did Canada Day and 4th of July, which is July 1st for Canada Day. You probably know that because you're from Boston. It's not very far. And then 4th of July in Glacier National Park. And on the way back, July 9th, they called me on the phone and said, "Hey, you're in." And I was like, "Your score's good enough. You give us $500, you're into it." And I asked her, "How long do I have to decide?" She says, "When I hang up, I've either got $500 for you from you, or somebody else is going to take that seat in law school." And so I pulled out my credit card and gave him $500, and
Yeah,
I
where
went
do
to
I
law
swipe?
school. Yeah, yeah. So I gave him the card, and they did it, and spent the next 3 years in law school. I started law school in the middle of August, so like a month later, I had to resign as the broker of my real estate office, and I went to law school. And when I graduated, it was during coronavirus, right? So we had all these crazy things going on, and some of it was great, some of it wasn't so great. But I got to live in Estes Park, Colorado, which is in the mountains, for one whole semester and a whole summer during coronavirus when no one was there. And it was an epic experience. And my son and I got to have one of the most amazing summers together. And then I moved to Rapid City because the next school year was all online. And law school is notorious for like not allowing that to happen. So it's just coronavirus was such a miracle. So I got to move up here and be here with him when he had his first day of preschool and everything else. And because I had my house here, it was a duplex, and I was mostly gone, I had turned it into an Airbnb. Well, through like November, I had most of the days were spent with my Airbnb being rented. So I ended up living in my camper in the backyard of my house and using my garage as my office and our living room. And my son and I lived in the camper for like the 3 weeks that he was with me. And we ended up like staying a couple nights in the house, right, when it was open, but we mostly lived in my camper in my backyard. Had
Hey,
fires every night in a fire pit. Yeah, it was
where there's a
great.
will, there's a way.
Yeah,
But
and
you
so
saw a
we
chance to make a little bit extra money and lived
yeah
comfortably. And hey, man, you took it and it got you where you need to be. And now, I mean,
yeah
results speak for
now we're here.
themselves.
Yeah, and so then I ended up taking the bar exam 4 times. Um, because the bar exam is no joke, like the hardest thing I've ever done. And I spent the most time studying for this than I've ever put into anything else in my whole entire life. And I passed, and I passed. I barely didn't pass the third time. Passed by light years the fourth time. And after passing, they called me in front of the board of bar examiners, and they used me being held in contempt for my accountants not getting um, my bank stuff done properly in time. Um, and they used that as a reason to call me in. And then they spent 6 hours berating me over my activism. And the bar association, the judges and the lawyers, and the assistant um, uh, state attorney, and Supreme Court justice, and a couple clerks in the area, circuit court justices, just beat me up over how much I've made comments about judges and how I've said that the system's wrong and that this is about making lawyers money and about abusing kids. And they went through social media posts and used them all to say that that's why I shouldn't be allowed to be a lawyer. And so, after the 5 years that I spent studying to become a lawyer, they spent 5 minutes or 5 hours beating me down over my activism and the work that I did to change the laws and support families and kids as the reason that they were denying me to come in to be a lawyer to support dads and families going through this horrific atrocity.
That I can kind of relate to that too. And off record, we'll talk about that a little bit. But
Sounds good.
yeah,
Yeah. So then,
off record, we'll talk over a
so then
game of
that was
Fortnite. We'll talk about that.
hell yeah. My Fortnite. Well, maybe you can help me out, but my username is DadGod28. But because I was setting up my girlfriend at the time's account for her son and my son and me, and I'm not an Xbox guy. I just had gotten it at the time that I set it all up. Anyway, it's been a decade or more since I had one, right? And they didn't have online programs when I was doing it the last time. Um, I somehow put his email on mine, so like you have to go to the username or the online code to find my account. You have to like look for his name that he had. So it's all messed up, but uh love some
I'll help you with
Fortnite,
that
and
tomorrow.
yeah, dude, hell yeah, let's do it. So DadGod28 though, that's my handle. But I think you find me as um bash underscore pro gamer 7.
Hey,
uh
whatever relieves the stress, man.
right. But
Oh
it
God,
was
what were
it
we
was it
talking
was
about?
last spring. So last March, April, end of March, early April is when that came out that they were going to deny me. Probably April. And I had a job. I was going to work supporting families going through abuse and neglect cases. A state job. I was going to be defending parents who were accused of abusing and neglecting their kids. It would be hard, but it was going to be a great job for me and my son. And I debated really hard on if I was in the right place. Like, am I doing the right things by doing all this activism? And these lawyers and the system just keeps coming at me. And like, when is it going to stop? And uh, it's not going to stop. they
Doesn't.
they want to beat me down, and they're gonna keep coming at me to try to beat me down, just like they try to beat everybody else down. And they beat down the men, and as soon as the men stop and stop coming back for more, then they mostly stop beating on you. They just keep taking from you, right? But they stop beating on you. Um, and
They
I'm a
go till they
glutton.
silence you.
Yeah. And I'm not gonna quit. I refuse to give up. I refuse to stop. And I know that it cost me in my law career, and it cost me $100,000 and a lot more than that on what I could have made if I would have kept my real estate company going. And none of it matters, because in the end, I am fully committed, 100% committed, with all of my beingness to make sure that shared parenting happens and that these kids and these families don't go through this trauma anymore. That this ends now, and when I get done, I will not stop until all the families who are going through this don't have to do this anymore, and that these lawyers and this system that feeds off of the destruction of a family and the agony that people go through will no longer be in existence.
You know what's what's a funny coincidence is a couple weeks ago I was sitting here and I was, preparing. I think it was episode one. I spent probably like 8 hours preparing for that, like notes and talking points, because I'm a very vocal person. I'm a very honest person too, but I have to learn how to say the things appropriately. You know what I mean? So, and I can also get off topic, as you've seen in this conversation. But it's easy. Dude. I feel like we could sit here for hours having a conversation. But episode one, like how do you talk about yourself for an hour, just yourself? It's the weirdest feeling. But I was getting ready for it, and I had one of those like click moments. I texted my buddy Cam and I said, "Hey, this podcast is a great start, but why don't we go for the big guy?" And I started looking into how they get a bill passed in Massachusetts for 50-50 right off the bat. Because there's
Yeah,
only about 7 or 8 states that are right off the bat. If you get a divorce and there's a child involved, it is innocent until proven guilty, compared to guilty until proven innocent, where it's 50-50, figure it the hell out, unless there is clear evidence that the safety of the child is in danger.
yeah,
And there's a couple of bills in right now that are getting voted on, I think, a month or two in Massachusetts system now. So I'm waiting to see how that goes. But the fact that it's only 7 or 8 out of 50 states is disgusting. Like, what are we
right,
doing?
right. It's terrible. No, and
And the
all those
statistics are
seven
there.
states, all those 7 states have all happened in the last 8 years. In the
Yeah, I
last
was
eight
just talking to
years.
my wife the other day. Florida happened in 2013.
Yeah,
Or 2023. Like, that's
yeah,
just happened.
right. Yeah,
But,
I
I
think
mean,
23, and then Arkansas happened in 24, I think. Um, yeah, and Missouri was in 23. I think also, or 22, maybe 20, 22, 23. Yeah, I mean, all of this started happening after Kentucky happened in um 2018.
yeah, and it needs to be the standard. I mean, the statistics are there, they don't lie. You know, Kids that grow up without a dad in the picture, sometimes they're getting arrested, they're out there, they don't have that role model. And people who grew up in two-parent households, it's not everyone, but it's just statistics. The numbers
Right.
don't lie.
Nope. And I
And
can,
it's clearly right there, but still the court goes best interest of the child. And it's just kind of, here you go, what's going to make us the most money.
right. State gets paid a lot of money off of that. Holding kids hostage is what the state does best. You got to keep them in
Yep.
school for a certain number of hours because they want their cash money from the federal government, and they want one parent to have them, the other parent to be a visitor, and they want to minimize your amount of time to be a parent so they can make as much money as possible off of holding your kid hostage. And it's all about
Yep. And
getting
you're
that
either
Title 4D money.
you're either going to get the deadbeat that doesn't care, or you're going to get the dad that cares and he's going to dump $15,000, $20,000 into this fight that's never going, to change.
Right. Right. I think the stats are like 13, 13%. So anybody that goes, whatever they give you when you first start, the odds of you getting anything more than the amount you get right off the bat is 13%. There's a 13% chance that you'll get something more than what you got at the very beginning. That's it. So the odds are not in your favor that if you do all this stuff, spend all your money on going to court, that you're going to get anything more than the bare minimum that they give you on day one. And so
Oh, yeah.
it's hard to tell guys not to do it, because there's a 13% chance, right? And also, it is a 13% chance. It is not. It is very rare and extremely difficult. And and I tell everybody that if you're a guy and you're in family court, you have got to be perfect. There is no room for a man to be anything less than perfect in family court because they'll use anything that's not perfection against you and ruthlessly demonize you for the almighty dollar for anything that you do that's not perfect. And only
But yeah.
perfection is the only thing. I mean, if you're Jesus, you might get 50-50. Might.
Oh yeah, and they read everything. When you're on that stand, dude, your body language matters. Even when you're not on the stand, it's still eyes on you because
Hmm.
you're it's just when they go into it, they go, all right, let's watch and see. They want anything they can use against you. And
Anything
I
they can
got
use
so
against you.
lucky that I got a no bullshit judge. Like she
Hmm.
was straight to the point, and I liked her. I did piss her off at one point, and it was funny. It wasn't. Nah, I find it funny. Her tone was just like, "Come on now," but her lawyer was just going down this like toilet bowl of just fucking questioning, and he started going. He was losing, dude. I'm telling you, it was hysterical. But he starts going down this bowl of, well, if this was the scenario and this was the scenario and these stars aligned, would you say that this is the best option? And I was just like, what? And he's like, if X, Y, and Z and the planets align and the ocean is warm on this day, would you agree that this is the best option? And I literally looked at him and I go, I don't answer hypotheticals. And he looked at the judge like, Your Honor, and she just kind of went, you got to answer it. And I was like, yes, if the stars aligned and the planets were warm and the ocean was blue, yeah, obviously that's the best option for, the child. But that's not reality. And when I got off the stand, she took the stand, and I said in the last episode too. Uh, I went through it around when Johnny Depp was going through his with Amber Heard, and I kind of went into it, and I said the same thing. I go, she's not going to see the whites of my eyes, and I sat there like a second grader, hands folded, arms out wide, looking down at my desk like it was a quiz, and just did not make eye contact the entire time. But there was one moment where she said something absurd, and I looked up, and the first thing I saw was the judge looking at me to see how I reacted to that. And it was like, snow days with friends are more important than time with the dad, because she, at the time, was in my school district, but lived primarily with mom. We went through a whole court thing right before school started, so they kind of had to make a judgment on the best interest of school before they could do custody. So school was decided like 4 days before school started.
Oh,
And they were
smokes.
like, yeah, dad's school district is the best school district because mom has moved like 15 times in the last like 3 years. So we're not doing that. And it circled back to they were questioning, like, well, why can't dad, if there's a snowstorm, take her to school? You guys say, hey, it's going to snow on Tuesday. Why doesn't Mike come pick her up and then be down here? And then she was like, oh, no, I'm sorry. She was saying that she should live up there and go to her school district. They were trying to bring school district into the custody battle for whatever reason. And she was like, well, sometimes snow gets too much up here and they cancel school, but down in Massachusetts, they don't. She would miss out on snow days with her friends. And my lawyer was like, so is that more important than time with dad? And she said, yeah. And my reaction just looked straight up, and I saw the judge eyeballing me. And I was like, don't react, don't react, just sigh and look down.
Hmm. Yeah, dude. I mean, how you act inside the courthouse makes a big difference. And you need to not react at all. You need to be calm and patient. And even when it's a full on attack, you have got to just internalize it all because they will look for anything. It's all judicial discretion is really about the whole idea that there's a fact in the case and they make the fact mean whatever they want it to mean. So they can make any single thing that's gone on. You took your daughter lunch at school. Well, it shows you that you don't trust the school to give your daughter the right things and you're untrustworthy and that only you think you're the best. So therefore that's a slight against you. Like they can use anything that you say and that you do as a reason to demonize you and to punish you within the law. And so you have to give them absolutely nothing. And a reaction inside the courtroom is all that they need to then go into, whatever tirade they want and use that as proof that you're unfit or not fit enough to be equal. And they only need to find a few things because the standard that they have to go by for the best interest is so ambiguous that anything they decide is good enough. And the Supreme Court or the appellate court, you probably have an appellate court, we only have the Supreme Court here, will side with them most of the time. And if they don't side with them, all they do is tell them how to do a better job of abusing you next time when you show back up in court to have them hear it again. Because if you beat them in the appellate court, it goes right back to the same judge who just tried to beat you down and punish you to make a new decision in your case. And I don't hear those turning out very well, hardly ever.
Yeah, once you lose in the court, it's very hard to get yourself out.
Right. Yeah, nearly impossible.
But all right, so let's tell me what you're doing now. Tell us a little bit about your Facebook page. How can people find you? Stuff like that. I know you had a meeting to get to. I don't want to hold you up on that.
That's okay. Yeah, she called like right on time, and I was like, "Oh, Representative Mandera, I am busy, but I'll be back to you in a little bit." So the best place to get a hold of me is Kids Deserve Dads on Facebook. That's where I do the most stuff.
I'll link it in the comments or
There you go.
the description.
I do it. I have a Kids Deserve Dads YouTube channel, and I've been playing with that. Not nearly as impactful and as much as I'd like to be in there, but I spend a lot of time on Facebook. It's my number one place that I do the most work. And then we're working on getting bills to pass. So I've been reached out to by a lot of people about helping out in bills in different states. So going into next year, I'll be working in a lot of other states besides just Wyoming and South Dakota. But this year, I got in Wyoming, we're going to get a shared parenting day proclaimed. So every April 26th will be shared parenting day in Wyoming. And in South Dakota, we're going to get HB 1067, which is our rebuttable presumption of shared parenting bill passed. That's going to be on Monday. And you can go on to, you probably won't hear it before Monday, but it'll be on Monday. And that should be passing in the next couple of weeks. And then we will be the 8th state in the country to make shared parenting the standard. And the first one really out west, since Arizona did something, it's the closest, it could be considered the first shared parenting state. Anyways, it's not exactly the same as everybody else, but we'd be the first one out west besides the ones that are kind of in the hillbilly country of the Appalachians.
Well, that's awesome, brother. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
let's hope that movement continues. I'm gonna have to get you up here in New England, and
Yes,
you and
sir.
me
Let's
might
do
have
it.
to go might go sparring around in the courts a little bit because it
Let's
was something
go.
I thought of a couple weeks ago. My buddy was like, I mean, shoot for the stars.
Right. I
Yeah,
think
brother.
it's
I appreciate. Go
yeah.
ahead.
No, I say it's you got to shoot for the stars, you like we talked about earlier, if you don't ask for something, if you don't go for it, you're never going to get it. And if they're holding your kids from you and they're preventing you from being a dad you want to be, the only chance you have is not to just like go away and hope that it changes. It's to stand up for yourself and your kids and fight for that right and push yourself. And if you don't get in court, you know what? If you don't get in court, and even if you do get in court, everybody else needs it also. And so we really have a responsibility to our community and to your kids and to the future that we don't allow this atrocity and this abuse. This is the government is abusing its citizens for profit for the states, and our kids are suffering, and this world is suffering because of this. And we owe ourselves and we have a responsibility to do what's best for our families and for the future. And allowing this to maintain and stay the way that it is a injustice that cannot be sustained and cannot not be allowed. And we have to stand up and fight. And we have to fight with every ounce of our being every day.
Man, you said it spot on, man. Spot on. I was gonna ask you a question. You kind of hit the nail on the head, so we'll shift the question a little bit.
Okay.
Off off the legal side, I'm gonna have you go back to a little bit of a visual here, okay?
Okay.
You're in a room, you're sitting there, you got another dad in front of you, and he's asking you for your advice. Now, You answered the legal kind of side of it all already. What do you tell him for his soul, his spirit? What do you tell him to get him through that mental voice that's in his head right now? You're pretend like the listener right now is sitting in front of you. What do you want to tell the dad that tuned in that just needs to hear the words?
Wow. I think um, the most important thing is to take care of yourself. You cannot pour from an empty cup. And so you can't give to anybody. You can't be there for your kids. You can't have all the joy and passion if you aren't filling yourself up and making sure that you're healthy and whole. And so the number one thing I tell guys to do right off the bat is get in the gym, getting exercising, going to the gym, going for
I really hope my
hikes.
wife doesn't
You
listen to this episode.
don't listen, don't listen. I get in the gym, work out, push your body as hard as you possibly can, get all that energy and and sadness and pain out. And then give your best efforts all the time. I think and be present. Spend time when you're not with your kids thinking about what it's going to look like, what it's going to feel like, what you're going to do, what are the experiences that you're going to have with your kids when you're together, and think about those things and then set yourself up for success. Make sure that everything's taken care of. If you're going to go fishing, don't wait till the morning you get them to get everything together. Get it together on Tuesday. Make sure all the hooks are tied. Make sure everything's done exactly as it's supposed to be. So that way, when you have them, all you have to do is go out there and enjoy the experience. It'll make it more fun and more engaging. And if you visualize and you set yourself up for success in that way, you're going to have that success. And if you set yourself up and you do all those little things early, your life and your connection with your kids is going to be exponentially greater. And I tell everybody all the time, take the time, man. Spend time on these things early. If you don't have your kids until every other weekend, you got a lot of time to plan and to set up and execute exactly what you want. Like I meal prep every other week. When I don't have my son, I'm meal prepping. And when he comes, I already have all of our meals already made. So all he does is show up and I reheat the food that we're going to eat. And we spend 40 minutes on food the entire time that he's here. And that's at most. And it gives us more time to be in connection, more time to do things together, and be spontaneous because we aren't worried about how we're going to make food. We're not going to fast food, and we're eating healthy and taking care of ourselves. And those are the little things that make the biggest difference and make you feel good. And they make, no matter how much time you get, even if it's only every other weekend, it makes it much more impactful. Whereas if you're sitting there and you like wait till Saturday morning to think about what you're going to do that weekend, you're going to be behind the eight ball and you're going to be struggling to catch up and stay on top of it. So being prepared, being proactive and thinking ahead and visualizing and seeing the experience and then living it is going to be the best way for you to go out there and be the dad you want to be. And even on every other weekend, you can still be that great dad, even with every other weekend, because you have put all that other time into it. So when it comes up, it looks flawless. It feels flawless because you've already designed it in your head and set yourself up for success.
Quality over quantity.
Yeah, 100%. And you can get it all in. You don't need 10,000 hours to get all this stuff in. You can get in so much stuff if you just are intentional and focused and committed to doing it.
No, hey,
And
brother, I
Mike, get
appreciate you
let's
coming
let's get in the
on.
gym, Mike. Let's go to the gym. We'll start working on some
Don't tell me
stuff.
that.
So
Stop it. Stop. Stop. This is gonna be the one episode she listens to, and she's gonna be like, "See, he fucking told you,
I
you fat
fucking
fuck."
told you.
As I was,
If you want to eat a donut, let's go work out. I'm committed to it. I've been doing this thing, so I've been building this school program called the Proving Grounds, which is into my coaching that I've been doing in the Forge that I've built. And the Proving Grounds, we do meal prepping, we do morning coffee hours every day at 5:30 Mountain Time, 7:30 your time, so that's a lot easier. Um, we do a coffee hour where we set up and we plan out our day. We set the qualities and intentions for what we're going to accomplish, and then we help support each other in what would make us successful and what we need for support. It's a great group of guys. And then in the proving grounds, we have like a meal prepping day where we every other weekend we do a meal prepping weekend, and I give like full menus and recipes, and then we hang out and cook them online together. So
We were so similar up until the end. So
man,
good.
I know
We
we're
were
like
so
brothers, and
good.
then
There was the problem. Just put your nuts on my drumstick? No. Oh God. That's
so
awesome.
good. Yeah, dude. But I think
Yeah, once we don't
sh-
once we don't have 16 feet of snow on the ground, and it gets warmer out. I do plan on starting to walk more this year. I
yes,
um
sir.
I have the two bottom discs in my back were taken out, and I worked and lived with like two pinched nerve or not pinched nerves, herniated discs for like a year straight of just like popping Advil, and now my nerves are just like it hurts. Some days are better than others, but it's like but if I lift something a certain way, I'm like, oh, can't do that. So so I do plan on doing cardio more, like walking and stuff, because I can't run.
Yeah. Or we can do some other stuff also, man. You could do some arms and some light things, and work around that. I would definitely would talk to a strength and conditioning person who is trained to teach you how to do that stuff. But I'm sure they can give you like some good exercises and good ways to like support yourself so you could still do some strength training. Because I tell you what, man, it makes a big difference when I'm strength training, like all the crap that goes on with my son's mom. I can let that stuff go way easier when I am exhausted.
No, that's absolutely fair. But
Yeah. So otherwise, man, no, dude, I'd love to call, man. Thanks so much, Mike, for inviting me on and giving me this opportunity to connect with you and connect with your followers and stuff. I think it's been a real blessing to be in this space, and I never would have asked to be here, and I'm sure you would either. But that being here and knowing that I had something to give, and then just keep choosing in each and every day, and I think that's been the most impactful part. So it's been a blessing, and today again, just the same thing over and over. So thank you.
no, brother, again, the thanks goes to you, man. You took the time out of your day. I'm not gonna lie, I'm usually a lot better with communicating with people that come on. You kind of just got the shittiest end of the stick ever with like four texts of time, okay? Be there in 20, 50 minutes later. So I appreciate you bearing with me because this past couple of days has been
Dude, I'm
busy
easy.
and the Olympics were on and everything else. So my life was just
Oh shit, there's Olympics on right now? Forgot about that.
hockey. But
Okay. Yeah.
we'll get off radar on that one. But
Yeah, man.
no, again, man, I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, you
Um,
too. Oh, thanks, man. It was wonderful. I'm gonna send you my stuff for Fortnite on your. I'll text it to you, and then let's go in there and play sometime, man. I really enjoy playing, and I play with my son quite a lot. Him and I battle, but it would be nice to have some dads and some adults to play with than just my son, who's he always tells me how much better he is than me, and I usually end up getting like more kills and all kinds of stuff, but he's still, Dad, I'm so much better than you. I'm like,
let him have it.
dude, I do let him have it. I let him have it all the time, and I'm like, huh, that's weird because it looked like I had 7 kills and you only had 5. But who's counting? So, and
But hey,
and
man, no,
he
for
is
the
better than I am probably though.
that's but without people like you who are willing to come on, this podcast really doesn't get anywhere. I could. This is gonna go out to all the listeners out there. I'm willing to take the hour and a half out of my day to put on the microphone and just chat with you. If you're a dad out there who's kind of hesitant on the fence, you don't think maybe your story matters and no one's really gonna tune in or listen. But I'll tell you, this episode and this podcast in general, the last couple episodes have all been because somebody listened to a previous episode, minus this one, but hopefully more can come of that.
Yes, sir.
But no, guys, seriously, this is a place where it's safe. You can talk how you feel. We'll listen. There's no judgment. If you're ready to have that conversation and you want to come on the podcast, you can reach out to me via email. It should be on the YouTube channel. Just pull up a seat and stay strong out there, guys. Thank you again, Zach.
Thanks, Mike. Man, have a great night.
You as well. Later.